chicken sandwich for. Hey, YouTube, this is Southern Purple One. Let me give you a story and let me talk about it. This is from military.com. The Army suddenly told hundreds of soldiers they have to be recruiters immediately. And through the article, it says that some of these guys only have 6 days, guys or gals, 6 days to report at recruiting school at Fort Knox, Kentucky. So this is unheard of in the military. Usually, if you're going to recruiting school, these are orders cut way in advance. You know about them. You plan. It's like any, change of duty assignments. You know about it. So for the Army to say, "Oh, we're messed up. We don't have enough recruiters," I think it's crazy. I think there's something else up to this. I don't have any information to prove this, but you want 800 new recruiters by the end of the year. Now, it's already hard enough to recruit into the military, and rightfully so. But my tinfoil hat is on. You can use these same 800 trained individuals to process draftees into the military. Yes, I have no proof that this is what's happening, but I know the military. They don't make mistakes like this. They do not make guys move over the holiday season. It's a no-no. And to get 6 days to uproot your life, your family, everything is insanity. It's either they're preparing for a draft where they're going to need paper pushers to process all these people in, or they're so incompetent. You could go either way. Either way. So I'll leave a link to this article. But 800 emergency recruiters, and they're dropping the standards. So it looks like you could get promoted up to staff sergeant if you have to do this because you have requirements for this job, and so they're really dropping the standard because they need people. It looks like they're also taking some guys that were going to go to drill sergeant school and put them over to recruiters. I've only met a couple people in my career in the military that volunteered to be recruiters. It's not a job where a lot of people like. If you're in the paper, you're in the, paper pushing, then some guys like it, but 99% of guys do not volunteer to go here. If they do volunteer, it's because the Army gave them this huge benefit package, or they wanted some stability. Are they going to use these 800 new recruiters to process paperwork for the draft? I don't know, but I'm just saying one of these two reasons. Thanks for watching.
All right, good morning, everyone. There's about 5 people here. That's cool. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me all right? Just give me like a thumbs up or say good morning or something, if you don't mind. 6 people now. Cool. All right. If everybody can hear me, just give me a thumbs up. You don't have to say nothing. Just thumbs up. We can hear you. Loud and clear. Something. Because I know there's still like a lot of static in the background. I can't figure that out. Not in either of these channels. Not on the one I got a strike on. Not on this one. I have no idea. I don't get it. I said I can hear fine when people call me. They can hear me fine. Hey Becky, thank you. I can hear videos fine. And when I record a video, it seems to come out okay. But when I do these live streams, they're static. I don't get it. Anyway, if you can hear me, okay. For people who don't know, that is Southern Prepper 1. Title of the video is Breaking News, U.S. Military Preparing for a Draft, ? Emergency Orders for 800 more. Hey Jennifer, how are you? I actually went to military.com, shared the article to my community page on this channel, backup channel, Tom Sawyer. And because I can't share anything on my main channel till at least the weekend. So anyway, I listened to the article actually, I started reading it, and I was like, oh, okay, I can actually listen to this because I was still kind of waking up. And I heard it, so you can actually read the article or listen to it. And all I can say is, wow. He's right. Dave from Southern Pepper One is right. This is unprecedented. Now, everything is unprecedented until it actually happens, right? But Captain Sully said that. Remember Miracle on the Hudson? But anyway, this is crazy, man. This is really crazy. So basically, to break this down, is the Army. I'm not familiar with any other branch of service that's doing this right now, but the Army is giving people 6 days to get to Fort Knox, Kentucky, to learn how to become a recruiter. That's crazy. I mean, imagine having 6 days to uproot yourself and your family to, get to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I think he said Fort Knox. Yeah, I was thinking Fort Campbell, but it's actually Fort Knox. And, to learn how to be a recruiter. Why? Why the sudden urgency in this? Especially as we near the holiday season. He's right. I was a military dependent, an Army dependent, from the age of 5 till I was 18 years old when I, went into the Navy. And although we moved around a lot and basically stayed in the same place depending upon my dad's orders, anywhere from 6 months to 3 years, and in Minnesota up to 5 years, which was kind of unusual. And I went to like 15 different schools by the time I graduated. One time, I think it was 6th grade, I think I went to 3 schools in the 6th grade alone. I could be wrong about that, but if memory serves, I know it was 2 for sure, maybe 3 in the 6th grade alone. So I understand the moving, I understand the uprooting, I understand the chaos involved with, uprooting your family, packing, moving, storing, all of that stuff. I get it. I was doing it my whole life up to the time I was from 5 to 18 years old. So I get it. But I don't recall my dad ever getting orders over the holiday season. He never got them over the summer either, unfortunately. I was like, what is it with this place, man? They always gave us orders during the school year, which is why I had to go to so many different schools, be the new kid on the block all the time, going to so many different schools, my brother and I. So this is unheard of, man. 6 days, pretty much as we approach the holiday season, to uproot yourself, your family, or whatever else. Probably leave your family behind would be my guess, with 6 days. You usually get orders months in advance, for a long time. There's a lot of things to take care of, when it comes to moving. Anybody that's ever moved or moved around a lot, that. It's very chaotic. It's very stressful time. So, what is going on? What is the deal here? I'm trying to figure this out myself, because in listening to the article, they are giving an incentive, but not enough of one. And I know about this too. I know about a lot of this stuff because of growing up in a military family and serving for 12 years myself. I learned quite a bit, the ins and outs of things and so forth. So when it comes to recruiting, for instance, Dave said he only knew 2 guys in his career that wanted to be recruiters. That was not the case with me. I actually was going to be a recruiter myself at one time. I looked into it because civilian life wasn't working out for me. I went back into the reserves, and then with the hopes of going active duty to become a recruiter. It didn't work out that way, because I wouldn't have minded the paper and everything. I'm a clerical guy, just organized for the most part. That wouldn't have bothered me. The part that bothered me would have been having to lie. That's what would have bothered me. I didn't want to lie to young men and women, and unfortunately, that is a big part of recruitment. Now, I'm not saying all recruiters are liars, What I am saying is they may not tell you the whole truth. They may leave some important things out. you know, they just name because they want to. There's like a salesperson in that way where they want to make the sale. They have a certain quota they have to meet, and so they're gonna do what they got to do to meet that quota. I did know a recruiter, an army recruiter actually. I actually trained with him about 3 to 5 years ago, I guess. We trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu together, and he was a Iraqi, what is it? Operation Iraqi Freedom, veteran, and he actually was a recruiter, and he hated it. And he wasn't necessarily forced into it, but the thing about recruiting is you get to stay local. You're not on a deployable status, and you can actually kind of have set hours, go home at night, be with your family or whatever. You don't have to pull extra duty. You don't have to be as concerned about things that other people are in active service. It's almost like an office job. You open up the recruitment office, you close the recruitment office. You're usually in there with other people from other branches of service and whatnot. And it, I was very interested in doing it. It's just that it just didn't work out where I could. So, but it had a lot of perks for me personally, because it was a lot better for me personally than being around working with civilians. Still is, in my opinion, because it's just a different mindset. It's just a way of doing things. It's a different life, especially if that's the only life you knew from like age 5 to age 18 and so forth, and even beyond. So, but it took a lot of background work to even do that. You kind of had to apply for the job. You kind of had to know the right people. It's so different now, though. See, that was, well, I want to say that was around 2010 or so that I was looking into it, something around that time frame. But now they are desperate. They are desperate beyond belief. They will practically take anybody with a pulse now. I mean, there is like no standard. I mean, it seems like we're back to the days, where somebody would get in trouble with the law. They stand before the magistrate, the judge, or whatever. They say, "All right, son, I'm gonna give you a choice. You can go to jail, or you can go into the Marines." I mean, it seems like we're to that point again, where I mean, it's getting there. If it's not there yet, it's getting there. So I found this video by Dave very intriguing in the article from military.com. If people want to look at it, it says it's on the community page, and Dave also shared it, I think, in the description or comment section of this video. It's definitely worth reading because they're looking for 800. I guess they're requiring 800 soldiers to uproot their lives to do this, and they want it in 6 days. And they're going to give them a whole whopping $5,000. Woohoo! Awesome. Man, that is chump change to to uproot your life. When I got my re-enlistment bonus as a Master at Arms, because I was a hospital corpsman on active duty and a Master at Arms was like military police and reserve, I got $8,500. Some people got up even to 15 grand depending upon how much they wanted to retain them, how much the Navy wanted to retain them, and what their it's called a military occupational specialty, MOS in the Army, but in other branches, but in the Navy, whatever your billet is, whatever your job is, if they believe that it was worth retaining you for whatever your job was, they give you a pretty good amount of money to re-enlist. And he's talking about, okay, being advanced to staff sergeant, especially if you're like an E4 or whatever, if they do that, I doubt they will, and bump you up 2 rates, because a staff sergeant's an E6. So if you're like a corporal or a specialist, most likely a specialist in the Army, that's a nice, bump in pay. That's a nice, that's a nice promotion. Is it worth it? Even if they do that, I don't know. And why the reason I say even if they do that is because Dave put out a previous video where his son wasn't even getting paid as in the reserves. you know. Now the Army National Guard seems to be doing okay with their recruitment, but the Army itself, not so much. And so it appears that the dude sitting in the chair right now doesn't want to pay our service members for doing the work. They're lacking the money, you know. The government's lacking the money, and then the people not getting it. At least that's what they claim. And the people that, well, they don't really claim that, I guess. They want us to believe everything's cool. So why aren't they paying our military then? Why aren't they paying the men and the women who are serving? I don't get it. See, something isn't right here. So I know people don't want to talk about draft. They don't want to hear about draft. People immediately dismiss it. It's not logical. It can't happen. It won't happen. It takes too much. You can't get enough people to serve, and on and on and on. That, again, like I said many times before, doesn't mean they won't try it. Doesn't mean they won't try it. I'm not saying they'll be able to do it. I'm just saying it doesn't mean they won't try it. People try a lot of things. I've tried a lot of things that I didn't accomplish, that I didn't, you know, accomplish to, you know, what I was hoping to. I didn't go. I didn't achieve it to what I was hoping for. Let's put it that way. You know, people try a lot of different things. Doesn't mean they're going to get it. Doesn't mean it's going to accomplish. They're going to accomplish it. It'll come to fruition. But they might try it. They might try it. So if they can't get enough people to serve, and they can't get enough people to sign up, well, like I said before, you don't even need to have a draft if you start scaring people like this. You know, if you start making them think, you know, we're actually going to war, in war, going to be in war soon, whatever the case may be, and they pull another stunt like Gulf of Tonkin, a December 7th, a September 2001 type event. You get everybody, you know, waving their flag, rah, 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 USA. You don't need a draft. People will just join up. They'll just sign up. They're going to believe the narrative. They're going to believe that it's my duty, and we've been attacked, and this is what we have to do, and people will sacrifice their kids and their grandkids, like I said before. You don't have to believe me. You just watch it happen. If that's what they pull, and they've done it so many times before, why wouldn't they do it again? You don't even need this. So, but isn't it interesting that all of a sudden there's this major push for recruitment? 6 days, folks. Even these soldiers, 800 soldiers, 6 days to uproot their families or uproot themselves and to get to Fort Knox to learn how to be a recruiter. And it didn't seem to matter what their MOS was, from what I understand. And maybe $5,000 more, you know, get promoted kind of thing. There's your incentive, if it even happens. You know, this is crazy. And the fact that they want to do it over the holidays, and you read the article or listen to the article, something by February, they want people attending the school, more people attending the school in February or whatever else. Unheard of. Like I said, my dad always got orders during the school year. Always, always, always. Drove me nuts. But that's when his orders always came in. Never during the summer, never during holidays. Like, what's wrong with the summer? You know? I mean, maybe toward the very end of the summer, so where you could start the school year in the beginning, but it was very rare that I actually started the school year at the beginning of the year. Most of the time I would come in the middle of the year, like March or something like that. It was very rare. Most of the time I was a transfer in the middle of the year. My brother and I were transfers in the middle of the year. So I know what it's like. I lived the life for a long, long time. I know exactly what it's like. I'm darn near an expert on it. But when you got videos like this, and I'm going to play some of this, okay? Because, yeah, the title is not necessarily clickbait. This is from Canadian Prepper. It's called Alert, We're Going to War, House Resolution 559, U.S.-Israel Ready Strike on Yemen. Okay, here's the deal with this, all right? I actually got an email earlier this morning from someone that told me that this had happened, and I wasn't aware, because I got home close to midnight last night. I went to bed. I was snoozing, man. I'm tired, you know. I work hard like a lot of other people do. I wear myself out. I'm tired. So I didn't know that in the wee hours of the morning, the House passed Resolution 559. So what is Resolution 559? Well, I'll let Nate explain that to you for a few minutes here. Not going to clear the whole thing, it's like 45 minutes long, but just to give you an idea. Now, I like Nate, Canadian prepper, I like him. But at the same time, Nate is an agnostic, whether he wants to admit that or not, that's pretty much what he is. I think calling this Anyway, Nate is like an agnostic. Um, and so pray for Nate because, you know, as Pastor Ben Faircloth says, you know, I'll borrow this quote from him. I don't think he's the one that patented it, came up with it, but it's a lot of truth to it. There are no atheists in foxholes, okay? When the bullets start flying, the missiles start flying, everybody's going to believe in something, okay? You know, I remember, if people are familiar with Mike Warnke, uh, um, he wrote the book called The Satan Seller. He was on the talking circuit, you know, traveling circuit for a long time in the 80s. He was, he claimed to be an ex-Satanist. He became a Christian, but he was also a Vietnam veteran, and he was a corpsman in Vietnam. And he actually put out this, I had the cassette tape for the longest time called Hey Doc. Might be able to find it on YouTube or whatever, and I should look it up. But anyway, that's the name of it, and he talks about his experiences as a corpsman in Vietnam. And I remember one time he talked about how, you know, they're being ambushed, there's a firefight or what have you, and everybody's just trying to run and jump at whatever hole they can find, right? And he had been preaching to some guys, you know, as a corpsman in the Navy with a bunch of Marines and so forth. He had been talking to guys about Jesus and whatnot. Everybody had different beliefs of whatever else, and some people believed in nothing. This one dude jumps in the foxhole with him. He goes, I believe. It's just like, yeah, everybody believes when it comes down to it, eventually, because there are no atheists in foxholes, okay? Everybody's going to believe. So even Nate has to admit at times, I've heard him say it, you know, he's like, this almost sounds biblical. He's like, you think? He's like, yeah, there's something going on here that I really can't explain in my, you know, limited understanding here that almost seems supernatural in a way. Yeah, you think? But anyway, I'm going to play a little bit of Canadian Preppers here, and one other guy's that somebody, a friend introduced me to his channel here today. His name's Ron Yates. He has some pretty good videos as well. But this is House Resolution 559. So let me go to this real quick. I got the wrong part of it probably. That's the as one. Okay. Let's see what folks talking about it. Well, around this time frame, around 516.
Claiming that they killed 24 fighter jets of the Ukrainians in the last 7 days. They're saying that the Russians have lost 70 armored vehicles, or like 130 total vehicles in 48 hours. It's a bloodbath in Avdiivka. Probably not pronouncing that right, but that is the fast crash course overview. Now, House Resolution 559. This is the big enchilada. Take a look at this. Okay, this was just passed. It was first tabled June 27, 2023, and I believe it was just passed today. Declaring it is the policy of the United States that a nuclear Islamic Republic of Iran is not acceptable. Whereas an Islamic Republic of Iran that possesses a nuclear weapon would be unacceptable threat to regional and global security. They go over a bunch of conditions here that would trigger some sort of intervention on the part of the Israelis or the Americans, and they make it abundantly clear that they will come to the aid of Israel if they start some shit, okay? Whereas the United States Ambassador to the Venice Office of the United Nations and the IAEA, Laura Holgate, affirmed Iran's production of uranium enrichment up to 60% has no credible peaceful purpose. They claim they've already done that. So many of these conditions have already been met. Already been met for what? Well, going to war with Iran or doing some
sort of intervention into the country. How Iran responds is another story. Whereas uranium enrichment to 90% is weapons grade material, whereas Iran is now in possession of an irreversible and dangerous nuclear knowledge, resolved that the House of Representatives declares it is the policy of the United States, and this is the most important part, that a nuclear Islamic Republic of Iran is not acceptable, that Iran must not be able to obtain a nuclear weapon under circumstances or conditions, to use all means necessary to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. What do they mean by all means necessary? They mean spending billions and billions of dollars, possibly $1 trillion, trying to fight the Iranians, to sink the Persian Empire, to recognize and support the freedom of action of partners and allies, including Israel, to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Freudian slip there. To recognize and support the freedom of action of partners and allies, including Israel, to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. It has now been reified in this document, and you can guarantee that this is what they're going to do. This is how the Democrats are going to stay in power. Holy shit! This is insane. This is absolutely...
Okay, so I'm not concerned about that part. Sorry about the language, forgot about that. But anyway, we're all adults here. But anyway, that's why it says not made for kids. But anyway, House Resolution 559, right? Okay, so does that mean that we're going to war, or we're going to be in full-out war this weekend or very soon? No, not at all. Not at all. You know, what it means is they're planning for it. See, because Congress, as far as I know, unless it's changed, is the only one that can declare war. But it has to be both houses of Congress, right? You have to have the House and you have to have the Senate. So they have to come into agreement, you know, which they never ever do, okay? To decide that this is what we're going to do. So what would cause both houses to come into agreement to actually declare war and to put United States in all-out war, you know, like after December 7th or the Gulf of Tonkin incident, or you know, the day in September and so forth? Well, it takes a major event. It takes an attack. So the person that was emailing me earlier, I was like, I didn't tell them this, but I'm just like, they're like, oh yeah, by this weekend, you know. Oh, listen, okay. I put out a video yesterday called Head on a Swivel, because that's what I think people should do. I think they should have their head on a swivel. I think they should be paying attention. I think they should be vigilant. I think they should know what's going on. I think they should be aware. All right? Pay attention. That's all I'm saying. All right? Is there supposed to be a major announcement like tomorrow by the chief of Hezbollah or whatever, 3 p.m. Israel time, where someone actually commented? I appreciate that. They told me that would be like 9 a.m. U.S. time or East Coast time or what have you. So, what, 6 a.m. Pacific? You know, so anyway, but are they supposed to make some type of an announcement? Yes. What is that announcement? Who knows? Okay. Supposedly, Israel's been given an ultimatum: get out of Gaza, stop hostilities, you know, or we're looking at total chaos. Okay, all-out war. You know, with everybody. Yemen is involved now and so forth. If Iran got involved, you know, it could heat up, it could escalate, it could blow up real fast. Okay, but still, again, I told this person, I said, listen, I said, unless our subs or aircraft carriers or any other type of aircrafts are blatantly attacked, shot down, sunk, whatever the case may be, I'm not concerned yet. That's just me. That's what I'm looking at. You know, it has to be, if there's an attack on the homeland or something that is perceived that way, that's the narrative, that's what American people believe, that's what the way they announce it, that's what they tell us or whatever, okay, then I can definitely see it. You know, barring those two things, I don't see it right now. That's me personally. That's me growing up in a military family, serving 12 years in the Navy, the Gulf War combat vet. That's my analysis for what it's for. People can agree, disagree, or whatever. I'm not concerned until I see that we are actually sunk, shot down, attacked on the homeland, or perceived attack. That, that's what they want us to believe. And the last thing, of course, the money's gone, but that didn't happen in October. Doesn't look like it's going to happen right now. Now, that being said, if they shut down the Straits of Hormuz, and I know Steve Popper Report talked about how, like, oil supplies going down, shipping's going down, like 50% of shipping. I didn't see the whole thing, but anyway, all of that will affect the global economy, affect the markets and so forth. But right now, markets are skyrocketing because they think that the feds are done raising rates. And so it's happy days are here again, all right, in the markets. That's what they want people to believe anyway. So as long as they can keep people with their blinders on, not paying attention, thinking about the holidays, thinking about whatever plans they have for travel and getting together with family. And I'm not knocking any of that, okay? I mean, hey, this is where people need to pray, and they need to seek the Holy Spirit, and they need to find out what's best for them and their families as far as travel, getting together, doing things. I'm very well aware that we are in the holiday season. Trust me, I know that. Everybody knows that. It's the same crap every single year. I get it, okay? I understand, all right? It is the same thing, ongoing, never-ending, every single year. And it doesn't seem to ever end. And people are like, oh, holiday season, holiday season, holiday season. The way I see it is, you got to eat anyway. You might as well buy a turkey. You might as well buy stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to be a party pooper Scrooge or whatever, but I just don't care. I just don't care. I mean, because it doesn't change for me. It probably doesn't change a lot for you all. I don't have vacation time. I don't have time off. I work. I work for a living. I work hard for a living. And it doesn't concern me. I enjoy the time off that I have, and I try to be as enjoyable to be around as I can be, which makes it so much easier if the weather's nice and you can go out for walks and hikes and go to places and do things and whatnot. But other than that, I couldn't give a rip. I don't care. It doesn't concern me. So, but this is when they get you. Like December 7th, for instance. That was right during the holiday season. Right after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, right there. Does that mean anything's going to happen this year? Nope. It doesn't. See, this House resolution, it's basically that. It's a resolution. They resolve, to want to keep Iran from progressing with its weaponry and to have any kind of way to attack Israel or the U.S. or whatever else. But that's all it is. So people saying, we're going to war. Listen, maybe not. Like I told people before, it's like, it takes a while, man. If you look at your history, after December 7th, look at how long it took. Or watch the movie Pearl Harbor. I mean, stomach it, or something like that, See how long it took for us to really respond. How long did it take after the day in September? 6 months. It takes a while, man. 6 months for a complete response. And then we were in a global war on terror for 20 years afterwards. See, there's a plan here. There's a method to the madness, that they instill. And they have a plan. It takes a while. So unless there was a major incident to draw everybody in as quickly as possible. And I understand we've got a lot of strike carrier groups out there and so forth. I get that. We've already had a lot of deployments and we've already got a lot of people, troops in the region and all that. I understand that. I get that. And we're spread thin throughout the U.S., or throughout the world. I get that. And we have nobody here to protect us on our homeland. I get all of that. All right? But even so, it takes a while. It would have to be something major to cause us to go to all-out war, because we're just not ready. We're just not, which is implied by, military.com putting out that article that Dave talked about, that they are desperate, that they're going to take people out of their regular jobs, force them, basically, soldiers, active duty soldiers, to become recruiters, whether they want to or not, give them 6 days to get there, to go to recruiting school, however long that is, Can you imagine the morale? Can you imagine how much that would suck? It's like, you know, you're in the army or whatever branch of service, whether you're the husband, the wife, or whatever, and and maybe that is you're the main breadwinner in that way, and you've got children, you've got kids, because this was a situation with my mom and dad when my brother and I were growing up, you know, and then all of a sudden you've got to move. All of a sudden you got to uproot your family or whatever, or you got to go away. Like one time, my dad, when he went to lab tech school, my mom and my brother and I, we stayed in Florida with my grandparents, because my dad was only going to be gone 6 months in San Antonio until he got his orders, and then we met up with him again after that, because it didn't make sense, nor was it financially feasible or logical to put the family up for 6 months, because the military doesn't always give you housing right away. You're put on a list. See, I mean, very rarely did we ever live in post housing. I remember like 3 times, I think, we lived in post housing. Yeah, it was in Texas. Maybe two. Let me think. Yeah, yeah, Texas, all 3 times. Fort Sam Houston, because I was there in San Antonio when before my dad got his orders to Minnesota, and I was there for a brief time. Finished up actually started my 6th grade year, or how should I say it? No, I was in the middle of my 6th grade year at a private school, Christian private school in San Antonio. And then my dad gets orders, and then I finished my 6th grade year up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, because when he got his, when he graduated from lab tech school, they actually sent him to a military interest processing station in Minnesota, and he hated it. He and my mom hated it for 5 years. My brother and I loved it, because we learned we learned how to play ice hockey, and then the snow didn't bother us, snow football. I mean, I was a kid. I was like 11 to 15 years old, at that time. And I mean, we loved it. My mom and dad hated it. They hated the bitter cold. We moved up there when Minnesota got 81 inches that year, or something ridiculous like that. It was crazy, yeah. Because I remember having to do a school project on it. They hated it. They absolutely hated it. My dad was stuck there in the military entrance processing station, where that's where they send the recruits, for all of their physical and getting their blood work done and the urinalysis and everything. That's what my dad had to do for 5 years. And like I said, it was terrible for them. But my brother and I, we were cool with it. But anyway, and then we went back to Texas after that, back to San Antonio. So we lived... and then all 3 times with our post housing, it was all on Fort Sam Houston. The first time briefly in San Antonio, and when I was in 6th grade, and then the second time, actually only twice for me. The second time was in my 11th and 12th grade year, and then when I went back on leave, my dad had actually moved, gotten staff NCO housing, which is E7 and above. He retired as an E8 after 24 years, and they were at a different house, but still on Fort Sam Houston. So I know that's all really confusing. People are like, who cares? You're boring the heck out of me. Get to the point, right? So anyway, the point being is, it's a lot on a family. It's a lot on a military family. And your morale is terrible when you uproot like that. You have to uproot so quickly and do something that you hate doing. I mean, think about it. Anybody that's ever done a job that you hate doing, but you felt like you had to do or you had no other option or choice, how much did you dread that? How much drudgery was that? How much did you hate it? I've been there, done that too many times. I get it. Because you don't always get the best jobs, especially in the military. It's the needs of the Navy, they would call it, the needs of the military. They want to try to make you somewhat content, but overall they couldn't really care less. You're owned by the government. You're owned by that branch of service because you signed the contract, you signed the dotted line, right? So if they can make you somewhat content, okay, but that is not their purpose. So it's up to you to try to find some type of enjoyment or fulfillment in whatever job you're doing. And for a lot of people, that is very, very difficult. Still is. It still is for a lot of people. Might be why a lot of people don't work. They can't find something that they really want to do, other than the fact that they're lazy or they want people to pay their own way or, whatever else the reasons are. But, sometimes it's just that people can't find what they want to do that gives them some type of contentment or fulfillment, and they're just like job until they can find something that they can fit in with and fits in with them. So military is no different, man. Military is no different. So yeah, say for instance you got soldiers out there that really enjoy doing what they're doing. Maybe they really like it, and now all of a sudden they have to be recruited. I don't want to do that. Imagine the morale. Imagine what that's going to do to morale. But see, this is how selfish and stupid our leadership is. They don't care. So, what kind of quality individuals do you think we're going to get in the service now? Wow. You see how screwed we are? So when people talk to me or tell me, oh, this isn't Mystery Babylon, America's best days are... Man, you need to pull your head out. You need to pull your head out. I'm just going to tell you straight up. We are screwed. We are screwed. And some people talk about revival. What revival? There is no revival without national repentance. Show me the national repentance, I'll show you revival. It's not happening. We are screwed. This is Mystery Babylon. This is Sodom and Gomorrah. All right? This nation is toast. People better get used to that idea. They better get used to that idea. You tell me where, other than heaven, other than our Lord Jesus eventually returning, when the Father sends him back, not when any man or woman says so, but when the Father sends him back, you tell me where's the light at the end of the tunnel in this? There isn't one. All right? This is going to just escalate from here. So whether it's House Resolution 559 that, eventually may bring us to all-out war, with massive deployments, recruitments. Like I said, I don't think a draft would ever be needed. That I don't even think it's possible. I agree with that. I don't think they can get the people. I agree with that. Doesn't mean they won't try it though. Okay? But whatever it is, and like I say, if you get enough people to sign up, like Chris Kyle, the American Sniper, did after that date in September, that's why he signed up. Like I said before, most of the people I served with in the reserves, they all went in after that date in September. So you get people to believe the narrative, sign on the dotted line, okay? Then you get a lot of people to, fight your banker wars, your globalist wars for you. Other than that, I'm sorry. I see it every single day, folks, and you probably do too if you're in the workforce. Nothing but pansies out there. Nothing but people that will avoid conflict at all in any cost, and nothing but illegal aliens in the workforce. Depending upon the job you do, that's how I'm able to function and continue to work, is because, these people don't understand you. And you don't understand them. So they're already kind of sheepish, you know, and so as long as they follow directions, simple directions, everything's cool. If not, you know, everybody understands no, you know, so, you know, you wave them off or you yell no or whatever, you know, people get that. I mean, but the fact that I work with nothing but pansies, no leadership, no supervision, very little communication, it's chaos. It's not even controlled chaos, it's just chaos. And most of the people there don't speak English. That allows me to continue to function because I'm kind of my own boss in a way, to a certain extent, you know, because, you know, people aren't used to people taking charge. They're not used to people taking over because they don't know what the hell they're doing. So they're like, yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and do that. You go ahead and do it. You know, do it your way if that's what works, because people are pansies now. They don't want any kind of conflict. They don't stand up for themselves. They're afraid of their own shadows. And I'm thinking to myself, and these are the people that are going to fight our wars? Are you kidding me? Where are the real men and women at? They don't exist anymore. They don't. They're gone. You know, I don't know if they're ever coming back. So, and I don't plan to go back to war if I can help it. And the people I know that I don't consider pansies, they don't plan on fighting these banker globalist wars if they can help it. So who's going to fight? Who's going to fight? So this is how jacked up it is. This is how messed up it is. So they can pass whatever resolution they want, and they can force this or force that. And you'll go for it, man. Let me know how that works out for you. Okay? Because it's nothing but chaos and confusion and insanity. So, anyway, let me get to, so that's Nate, Canadian prepper, House Resolution 559 he's talking about. He goes on for like 45 minutes. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that this is like 24/7, ongoing, never-ending, until people are actually freaking out, losing their minds, which I don't believe is going to happen until they shut off the money. They're not doing that. Doesn't look like anytime soon. October's come and gone. Didn't happen in the United States. Happened in other currencies around the world. Didn't happen in the United States. Nobody cares. As long as there's money in the account, as long as people can still buy what they got to do, buy what they got to buy, you know, pay their bills, buy Christmas presents now because we're in November, you know, and what they don't care, man. They do not care as long as there's money. You cut the money off, game over. You know, that's all anybody cares about. They won't even care if we go to all-out war as long as there's money. And I can prove that. Over the last 20 years, we had a global war on terror and nobody cared. The only people that cared were people in the military, their dependents, their family members, extended family members, the people praying for them, the people having to take care of these wounded troops and soldiers coming back, the people that had to counsel them, you know, because 22 veterans were committing suicide every single day. You know, those are the people that cared. Everybody else couldn't give a rip. They didn't care. And that went on for 20 years, 20 plus years, and nobody cared. So, you know why? Because we had money. That's why. As long as there's money, no one will care. So let me find the one for, where is this guy? Here it is, Ron Yates. I like this guy, too. He's pretty down to earth. And he talks about
states are escalating to the point where things.
Here we go. After the ad, I'll look at the chat here in a minute. Just play.
Escalating to the point where things are inevitable, where we are seeing attacks and battling and the increased chances of war. Can you guys confirm what you're hearing out there? Guys, literally, U.S. officials are warning of escalations. Iran attacks U.S. military, and we're embarking upon the point of no return. Many are saying that we should prepare for World War III. Now, before I continue, guys, just drop me a quick comment down below. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the comment section. I would really, really appreciate that. Just 2 hours ago, the second Israeli airstrike on Jabalia kills dozens, according to a hospital director. The Israeli airstrike that rocked Gaza refugee camp of Jabalia killed at least 80 people, according to the hospital servicing them. He said the majority of the casualties were women and children, and that hundreds more were injured. The Israeli Defense Forces confirmed earlier.
Berto, is that you? Are you back? Is that you, man? Perez fam? Is that you? Is that Alberto? You're back, huh? Interesting. Interesting.
But the blast in Fallujah neighborhood of the Jabalia refugee camp was due to an airstrike. It said Hamas terrorists were eliminated in the strike. Now, U.S. fighter jets strike Iran-linked sites in Syria in attack to retaliation for attacks on U.S. troops. Guys, we're seeing it here. It is literally just escalating by the day. By the way, guys, I just want to thank you guys for dropping a quick comment. No show, all good. Thank you for confirming on the sound. Paul, thank you. Loud and clear, bro. I really do appreciate you guys. So moving on. U.S. fighter jets launched airstrikes on 2 locations in eastern Syria located in Iran's Revolutionary Guard groups, according to the Pentagon. And the retaliation is for a slew of drone and missile attacks against U.S. bases, against U.S. military and personnel in that particular region earlier last week. President Biden had issued multiple warnings to Iran because basically it's believed that Iran is funding Hamas behind the scenes, warning that if Iran or Hamas continues to attack U.S. troops, there will be consequences. Now I have to ask you guys, do you believe that other countries are fearful or even respect President Biden's warnings about these consequences that would be inflicted if this type of behavior, if these attacks continue to ensue against U.S. troops? Thank you guys for confirming. Mario Rosa, I see you. Rose, thank you. Hello, people. I appreciate you guys dropping some.
That's for some of this. You're just saying hi to people.
Not be spared. Like, our American soil is literally being threatened by Iran. So Iran warned that the U.S. won't be spared if Israel-Hamas war spreads. Millions searching the term World War III literally confirms what everybody is worried about at this point. And what everybody believes is the inevitable escalation at this point. And we've heard from Tucker Carlson
You'll see it soon,
that
Tina.
abrupt change is coming, warning that America is on the brink of collapse. And he also told the American people that many people are concerned about the end times, as he's alluding to the U.S. economy's troubles as well. Not to mention the economic stress placed on the country by being involved in multiple wars, whether directly in these wars or providing the economic backing behind these proxy wars. Ultimately, it's all the same from a financial standpoint. Now, according to the Pentagon, there have been at least 20 attacks on U.S. military bases and personnel in Iraq since mid-October, including the new ones that had happened as of recent. Now, these updates are increasing in frequency, and this is not a good sign. Nobody wants this kind of news. I don't want to hear this kind of news, but
Elizabeth, if they love money so much, then the only thing that's going to bring them to their senses and bring them to Jesus is their money's gone. It's really that simple. I mean, there's no other way around it. And I think that's what the Lord's going to do. That's what Pastor Ben had prophesied a few times now, that God's going to cut the spigot off. When? I have no idea. Thought it was going to happen in October. It didn't. I was wrong. It didn't. I don't know if it'll happen this year. I have no idea. But when people love money that much, why do they need Jesus? You know, is they're gonna be like, what? I mean, why do I need Jesus? I've got everything I need. I've got my money. I got my house. I got my cars. I got my boats. I got everything. What? See, this is why God's going to remove the money. It is the only way that He's going to get anybody's attention. I mean, really, because people love money too much. That is their God. Even people say, that's not my God. Take their money away. See what happens. See, that is why people needed to be preparing and prepping and whatever else, stocking up, doing, obeying the Holy Spirit, doing what the Lord told them all these years, and especially these last several months, because they're going to rely and depend too much on their money. So until their money's gone, people will do one or two things when their money's gone. They will either turn to Jesus or they will curse God that their money is gone. There will be no in between. They'll either turn to Jesus because out of their desperation and they need salvation. They recognize they need a Savior. And money's not going to save them. Or they will curse God. For the first time in their life, a lot of people will believe in God because they need someone to curse. So they'll curse God because their money's gone. That's what people will do.
This is what's happening, guys. And by the way, I just want to thank you guys for dropping the likes in the videos. And I really appreciate you guys. And if you guys appreciate the content, if you haven't already, please drop a like for the video.
Alberto, if it's you, I'm going to tell you why. Because I know that's why. I know. People go on other channels and they bash me, and they agree with other people bashing me and hating me and causing me all kinds of pain and trauma and putting me through all kinds of crap. And then they come back over here and they pretend like everything's fine. So if you got a street ministry and you're out there preaching and you're calling up revival and everything else, good on you. I'm glad for you. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. But don't come back on here pretending like everything is hunky-dory after you've been out there bashing me, if that's you. Because I'm fed up with it. That goes for anybody that comes back on this channel or the other channel after you've been bashing me, bashing my family, bashing my friends, and then you come back over here like everything's fine. That is hypocritical. That's why I'm upset.
We do appreciate it. So Syrian opposition activists confirmed that the U.S. airstrikes in Syria's eastern province of Del Azor. Omar Abu Leia, a Europe-based activist who heads the Deir Ezzor 24 media outlet, said that the target was a well-known area as the farms outside the town of Madin. Now, he said that the second airstrike hit an area as the Green Belt, also known as the Green Belt. And according to this spokesperson, many people were evacuated before the strikes because the retaliation was actually expected. Oh man, now according to the Pentagon, there have been at least 20 attacks on these U.S. Air Force bases, and if these attacks didn't take place by the U.S. military, our threats, our warnings would be less effective. So totally understand that these actions had to be taken. A letter sent Friday to congressional leaders, President Biden wrote, the strikes were intended to establish deterrence and were conducted in a manner to limit the risk of escalation and to avoid...
Thanks, Eric. I am...
in casualties. I directed the strikes in order to protect and defend our military personnel, to degrade and disrupt the ongoing series of attacks against the United States and our partners, and to further deter Iran and Iran-backed militia groups from conducting or supporting further attacks on United States personnel and facilities. And that's not all, guys. You know, we talk about these attacks, these battles, these wars, escalations taking place in these faraway lands, such as Israel, Gaza, and, you know, we think that these things are taking place in these faraway lands, and, oh, it can't happen here on American soil, but we're actually seeing disruptions and protests. And these protests, they're starting off peaceful, but they're escalating into becoming a little violent. And in a previous video, I showed you guys the airport, which was stormed, and essentially the
That happened in
airport
Russia.
which was stormed, they were searching
Moscow.
for
Crazy.
Palestinian uh, 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 passengers on the airplane. Now, just hours ago, Northwest Syria witnesses the most intense military escalation in 3 years, guys. More than 65 civilians have been killed. Since the beginning of October, cities and towns in northwestern Syria have witnessed a military escalation by Syrian government forces and Russia, the most intense in nearly 3 years. Over 65 civilians, including more than 20 children and 10 men, have been killed, and more than 265 civilians, including 80 children and 45 women, have been injured. Things are continuing to escalate, guys. And the senior defense official told reporters that the airstrikes will have a significant impact on the ability of Iranian proxy groups to continue to attack U.S. forces. Now, I got to ask you guys, I've seen a number of comments from people indicating, you know what, is it time to leave the United States? Is it safe here anymore in the United States? Well, I got to ask you, and this is really a question for my audience. If you were to leave the United States, what country would you go to? Where would you go that would be safer than the United States? That's a legitimate question for you.
Costa Rica, Panama, probably Chile. Those would be my top three. Yeah, I can't think anywhere else. But yeah, that's what I would do.
So just drop me a quick comment down below where you think would be safer. Ancients New, why don't we? What's good? Thank you for the comments. Linda Lacasey, I see you. I think most, I'm just reading Linda's comment. New Orleans, we've seen it in New York City. You know, we're seeing it all over the United States at this point, and it's definitely escalating. They shut down the New York City Brooklyn Bridge just the other day, and these protests, in fact, we've actually heard from the FBI Director Christopher Wray just the other day warning U.S. citizens here on U.S. soil to be prepared for any type of Hamas leadership issuing any type of attack on U.S. soil. So this is getting real, guys, and we certainly need to remain vigilant. Rena Rich, come on, this is going too far. Hey, Rena, I'm with you on that. Jessica Yanch, I think they're going to open the draft first. Are they going to recruit? I just saw. Really? Are you seeing confirmation that they're going to open the draft? I have heard of talk regarding the draft being reinstated, but I haven't seen any confirmation just yet on that. So unless it came out in the last maybe 12, 24 hours, I don't know anything about that as of yet. Cam says taking advantage of people that are not paying attention. Exactly, and a lot of people have been questioning, even in the comments of today's video and previous videos, is this a distraction? Is this a way to put fear into the hearts of Americans and to make Americans more easily able to be controlled by the powers that be? That's a great question. I'd love to know what you guys think on that. What's your take? Vinny D. Mondugo from New Zealand,
Okay, real quick. I'm not trying to be a jerk, okay? I'm really not. I try to be a pretty level-headed, decent person as much as I can be. But people have no idea how much crap me and my family have gone through because of what people have said about us and done to us. And I have done absolutely nothing to them whatsoever. But they've gone. I don't ask anybody for anything ever, except maybe a prayer every once in a while. Okay? Because that's not what this is about. Like I said before, people can either join in, not join in, listen, not join in. It's a choice. But people who have been over here and then you go to other channels that you know hate me, okay? Straight up, hate me, and hate the people that I associate with and I talk to and I'm friendly with and have, communication with, and do nothing but bash us and hurt us, and then people come into an alignment with that. If that's their choice, fine. Stay there then. Enjoy it. Have fun mocking, scoffing, bashing, hurting each other, coming to an agreement, coming into alignment with people that want to hate and people that want to do nothing but disparage people's characters and assassinate their characters and do their best to destroy their channels and them as individuals and families. You go right ahead. People say, oh, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. No, you're not. You go in those channels and you come into agreement with that and you leave your comments, some of them very, very hateful. People that have been over here for a long, long time on the main channel, the backup channel, or whatever else, and then they go to those other channels that do nothing but bash me and hate on me, and then come back over here and then pretend like you're my friend. It doesn't work like that. I'm not stupid. I've been around a long time, not as long as some, but longer than others. Been through a lot of crap in my life like everybody else. Done a lot of different things. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what they think. Hit the road, Jack, if you don't like it. I don't care. But don't be a hypocrite about it. I mean, my gosh, be a man, be a woman. If you want to go to the channels that bash and hurt others, then stay there. Keep bashing, keep hurting, keep mocking, keep scoffing, keep coming into agreement with the hate. Go for it. That's your choice. But then don't come over here and then pretend like you're my friend and like everything's fine. I'm not stupid. And that's being a hypocrite. So stay on one side of the fence or the other. Go to the channels that hate on me and hate on the people that come here, hate on subscribers, hate on people that leave comments. Go to those channels. Stay there. Agree with it. That's your choice. But then don't come back here unless you're coming back to apologize, to ask for forgiveness, and to admit that you were wrong. That's different. But don't just kind of sneak in the back door and pretend like, oh, everything's fine. Yeah, I just called you the devil, basically, but now I'm back here listening to what you got to say. Screw you. Stay out and don't come back. People don't like that. Go look at some other channel. Go. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what's put on my heart to do, what I'm inspired to do, to try to help as many people as I can while there's still time. There is no time for pussyfooting around. I got no time for pansies. I got no time for hypocrites. I got no time for liars. And I got no time for cowards. So stay away. Don't come back.
For dropping a comment, let me know you're here. And of course, the problem with the borders, right? Who's coming in? Are the people who would come in to wish or execute on ill intentions for the United States, are they already here? Like, even if, because a lot of people have commented, we need to shut down the borders, north and south, but even if we were to do that, if the people who would do us harm are already here, what good is that really doing? Beyond preventing additional evildoers from coming in to do the same thing. Barbara Lynch says nowhere to hide. Cam says more wars, more money. Just Me says I'm scared to death. This is awful. What's going on, Cash Ryan? What's good? What's going on? The world is crazy now, my friend. I totally agree with you. I really appreciate the comments. Immediate vacation destination, certainly not at this time, right? And, what's wild is that all this began just a couple of weeks ago when the world was, just kind of blown away by what Hamas did when they attacked Israel. And, that was the spark that literally set up this entire chain reaction of events with repercussions that have literally been felt, long before the spotlight actually turned to the United States in our stance on this particular matter. And, in the aftermath of the Hamas attack, President Joe Biden, he didn't mince any words. He issued a very stern warning, not to any particular individual or an abstract entity, but, just to a very real and potentially volatile player on the world stage, Iran. Although the entity itself is real, the exact warning may be a little bit off target. Now, you might be asking why. Well, all of this kind of boils down to the fact that Iran openly provides financial support to Hamas, right? And so this very organization is ultimately responsible for the attacks on Israel. The United States, you guys see, it's a staunch ally of Israel, and it has been for many. There are line items literally for Israel. There is annual funding for Israel constantly. And of course, there are many different people who oppose the United States. And so when I say many different people, I actually should say many different countries that oppose the United States, which is rather concerning, especially when you look at the fact that we're involved in multiple proxy wars. We have our military enlistings or military enlistments at an all-time low, meaning new people who are joining our U.S. military has decreased dramatically over the years. But in addition to that, we're spreading ourselves across so many different fronts from a global perspective that it makes many people question how strong are we to be able to protect ourselves right here on American soil. So those are legitimate concerns. Julie says in times of war, good luck being welcome in other countries. And I totally get it. And speaking of other countries, the question that a lot of people, the question that I've seen asked is, well, what happens if all of these other countries that don't necessarily support our directive, our mission, our stance, our position globally, or...
Yeah, that's right, Jennifer. And also, a lot of the money and the weaponry we sent to Ukraine, guess what they did? They sold it. They sold it to people who want to kill us. So we basically fund the same people that want to kill us. How smart is that? It's unreal. It's crazy. We have been set up for the kill. Maybe that's what I should have titled this. Set up for the kill. That's exactly what's going on.
Or to kind of team up against the United States. Now, there's a lot going on here. Iran, Israel, Hamas, Taiwan, China, Russia, Ukraine. We have a lot of players involved here.
No, not at all, Linda. Welcome. No, he isn't. He is, if it's really him. I've seen some things that claim that he actually passed away in 2019. I don't know if that's true or not, but I find it interesting, because they use a lot of doubles and a lot of actors and stuff. Anybody ever seen the movie Dave from, I think it was like 1993, with Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver? Pretty interesting. Check out the trailer if you've never seen the movie or what. It was pretty interesting. What happens is the president, I think his name is Bill Mitchell, if I remember right. Wow, I can't believe I remember that. But anyway, he suffers this massive stroke, but they don't want anybody to know. So they get a presidential impersonator, a guy that looks like him and, can learn his mannerisms and sounds like him. And they basically pass this dude off as the president, while the real president is actually recovering from a stroke. Because the real president, shockingly enough, is a real scumbag in the movie, and he's pushing forward the agenda that, all of these politicians that want to stay in power want, and doesn't give a rip about the people. Where the vice president is actually a decent person, and so they don't want anybody to know that the real president has been incapacitated, because then they would invoke the 25th Amendment, put the vice president in place, So the powers that be don't want that to happen. So they bring in this guy Dave, this presidential impersonator, while the real president, I think he eventually dies from the stroke, but which would, like I said, automatically make the vice president president. But they send him off on some kind of humanitarian mission and out of the country and everything else. And it's a very interesting movie. People gotta check it out. It's called Dave from 1993 with Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver. Well, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what's happening now. We've got this imposter in there, that has been supposedly the guy in charge, if you want to call it that, for these last several years. And look what's happened to our nation. Look what's happening to the country, and that's exactly what we do. We fund a certain country that turns around and takes the weaponry and the money we give them, and then they give it to terrorist organizations that want to kill us. Because keep in mind, we're the big Satan. Israel's the little Satan. Okay? Even Netanyahu said that. And that's the truth. All right? What shocks and amazes me is it hasn't happened yet. We haven't had that date that happened in September 2001 again. That amazes me. That shocks me that we haven't had that happen yet. So I can only imagine how close we are now. So, anyway, yeah, there's no way that Biden believes in Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior, or whoever is in that office. There's no way. I think at one time it was a guy by the name of Arthur B. Roberts. He put out an Illuminati video years ago, trying to recruit people to the Illuminati. His claim to fame, if you want to call it that, is he was the evil ninja in the movie Revenge of the Ninja way back in like 1983 with Sho Kosugi or whatever, and then he did some B-rated movies. He looks a lot like him. He looks a lot like JB there, but that guy's so old, he may not even be around anymore. So they probably have a lot of people stand in, wearing masks, all this stuff. You can learn how to speak like people, impersonate people, learn their mannerisms. Look at Dana Carvey when Saturday Night Live, Wayne's World was out. He made a career out of it, out of impersonating people. Not so much looking like them, but he could sound just like, man, I've heard him impersonate practically any famous person I could think of, Same with Frank Caliendo, the late Rich Little. These people, they impersonate people. They sound just like them. Just like them. So, in this day and age of deception, and green screens and everything else, who knows what's real anymore? We live in the Matrix. I mean, who really knows? All we do know is that people are dying and they want to kill more. That's what we know. The rest of this, who knows?
And so it could get really, really dicey and very, very interesting, but not in a good way. So anyway, like if we were to fast forward to the past week, things have just taken a dangerous turn, just to keep it simply, right? U.S. troops stationed in the Middle East have literally been hit not once, not twice, but over 20 times. Over 20 times. And these attacks have resulted in nearly, 30 soldiers getting injured in the line of duty. Cam says, pull our money back, refocus. And, speaking of our money from a United States perspective, right? Where are we at with the national debt? If I'm not mistaken, last I checked, the national debt was somewhere around $33 trillion in national.
Oh, man.
Everyone with Medicare.
Interrupting this guy. He must be saying some good stuff. He is, actually.
There's something called net worth. Your net worth is basically your assets, everything that you own that's worth anything, cash in the bank, investments, savings account, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, gold, silver, real estate, your car. So basically your jewelry, maybe art, maybe the value of your business, all of these are considered assets, right? And so your assets minus your liabilities. What are your liabilities? Anything you owe money on. So credit card debt, your mortgage debt, if you have a car payment, like the loan associated with your car, right? So all of these things are considered debt. So basically you take everything you own, which is your assets minus your debts, and that is your net worth. Now, if we look at the United States, we owe roughly $33 trillion worth of debt. Now, I was on the Federal Reserve website earlier today, and based on what I'm seeing, it looks like the United States' total assets are less than $5 trillion. So if we were to think about this for a second, try to break it down to a level that most Americans can understand, right? If these figures are accurate, which they're on the Federal Reserve website, so I would imagine that they're pretty freaking accurate, the United States national debt is $33 trillion, but we only have about $5 trillion in assets. That would be a negative net worth of like negative $28 trillion. This is rather concerning, and this is only getting worse as we continue to fund taxpayer dollars overseas to handle wars that are, outside of the United States. Nama says Bahamas in the house. What is going on? Thank you for checking in. BWS 444 says prep, pray, and stay ready for anything. I couldn't agree with that anymore. So, really quick, just drop me a quick 1 or 2 in the comment section down below. Drop me a 1 if you believe that that the world respects President Biden's warnings and will stand down since he has warned Iran, for example, to stop attacking U.S. troops. Or drop a number 2 if you believe that the world doesn't have any fear in President Biden's warning. I'd love to hear from you guys. So drop a 1 if you believe that the world is drop a 1 if you respect Trump. Drop a 4 if you believe that if former President Trump was in office, that they would not respect his wishes or his warnings. So drop it, and this is for if you believe that Trump issuing a warning, if he were president, that the world would respect him. Drop a number 3. If you think that if Trump were president and he issued a warning that the world would not respect him, drop a 4. Let me see what you guys are putting in the comment section down below. And you guys can also check in the comments and see how other people, we are the American people, guys. So when you guys are commenting here, you're able to see what does the average American person think that countries outside the United States, how they look at us. Do they see us as a powerful nation still? Are we still the world superpower? That's a big question. It really is a big question at this point. I'm getting lots of comments from you guys. Oh, wow. Lots of 2s in here. Yep. Lots of 2s, lots of 3s. Oh, wow. Only 1 4. Wow, so one person doesn't think that Trump's warnings would be respected, but it looks like pretty much everyone else is behind the strength and respect that former President Trump had. Interesting. Now, by the way, we've got hundreds of people here in the live. If you guys could, at least half of you, just Biden administration has not accused Iran of having a direct role in the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, and it said that it appears so far that Tehran was not aware of it beforehand, but the U.S. has noted that Iran has long supported Hamas and has raised concerns that it has raised concerns that Iran and its proxies could turn the conflict into a wider war. Further escalations, guys. Austin said that the United States does not seek a broader conflict, but if Iranian proxy groups continue, the U.S. won't hesitate to take additional action to protect its forces. Now, according to the Pentagon, all the U.S. personnel hurt in the militant attacks received minor injuries and all returned to duty. In addition, a contractor suffered a cardiac arrest and died while seeking shelter from a possible drone attack. The retaliatory strikes came as no surprise. Officials at the Pentagon and the White House made it abundantly clear for the past week that the United States would respond, with Reuters saying again Thursday that it would be at the time and place of our choosing. The latest spate of strikes by the Iranian-linked groups came in the wake of a deadly explosion at a Gaza hospital, triggering protests in a number of Muslim nations. The Israeli military has relentlessly attacked Gaza in retaliation for the devastating Hamas rampage in southern Israel nearly 3 weeks ago. But Israel has denied responsibility for all of the Al-Ahai hospital blasts, and the U.S. has said its intelligence assessment found that Tel Aviv was not to blame. So these updates continue to come out. Seems like the pace of the updates are coming out on a more and more regular, fast-paced basis. I'm going to do my best to keep you guys posted and up to date. If you could drop a quick like to the video, I totally appreciate that. Consider subscribing and also check out my previous videos. And I'll catch you guys on the next update. If you're a Christian, if you pray, please pray for the United States. Take care, guys.
Okay, so that's Ron Yates. Wherever the video is. I don't know. Anyway, that's weird. It disappeared. Anyway, his name is Ron Yates. And I like his reports. I was introduced to his channel a few days ago, and I think he's a pretty down-to-earth guy. He just puts the information out there. It's pretty cool to listen to. I think I'm going to go ahead and head out of here. But before I go, I really didn't even know if I was going to come on today, honestly, because I was sleeping pretty well. You know, I said I'd get home late, and I'm pretty much zonked, and so I really wasn't sure. And what I was going to do was a whole lot deeper and a lot more spiritual than what happened today. And I may do that eventually, I'm not sure, but I found some teachings from Dr. Lester Sumrall on witchcraft, demonology, things of that nature, that it's important, but it's really, really deep. And I just didn't really want to get into that today. And I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow or not. We'll see. We'll see what the Lord puts in my heart about that. But I was going to do that because it's important. Because I received messages last night of people that are dealing with witchcraft. They're dealing with attacks, not only me, my family, but others. And you got to stand up. So it may seem I was being mean or overly harsh or whatever else, but like I said, if people want to engage in hate and vitriol, witchcraft, whatever practices they want to engage in, that's your business. That's between you and the Lord. You work out your own salvation. But then, if you do that, people choose to do that, don't come over here and insult my intelligence and the intelligence of the people on the channel and the subscribers and whatnot, the people on the live stream, and pretend like that's not you. Because I know, and other people know. So, choose whatever side you want to be on as far as that goes. Okay? Because this is intense warfare that's going on right now. The attacks are intense. They are extreme. Satan is out to steal, kill, and destroy. And people want to live on both sides of the fence. They want to ride the fence, they want to be on one side then the other side, and it's like, listen, your salvation is between you and the Lord. Everyone needs to work out their own salvation with fear and trembling, but I will become, angry like I was when I know for a fact that people are over there bashing me, my family, my friends, people I care about, people I associate with, people I communicate with, and then come back onto the channel and then pretend like, that's not me. I didn't do that. I didn't say that. Oh, can't we be friends again? No. No. The answer is no. Unless you apologize, you ask for forgiveness, and you admit that what you did was wrong. Okay, great. There is forgiveness. There's forgiveness through Jesus Christ. We're supposed to forgive. We're supposed to pray for those that persecute us. pray for our enemies, bless those that persecute us, bless our enemies. I get it. And I try to do that as much as I can. Like I said yesterday, I tried to go on the woman's channel and help her out that's doing nothing but sitting in a hotel room and begging people for money. Won't get off her ass to do anything. But she'll sit in a hotel room, prophesy people's deaths, beg everybody for money, give people some type of teaching, claiming that it's from the Lord, claim that she's this and that and so wonderful and great in the kingdom of heaven, and on and on and on and on it goes. And yet does absolutely nothing as far as real ministry goes. So people are out there preaching and they're teaching and they're doing things in the name of Jesus Christ, and they're doing it with the right heart and spirit. Hey, like I said, good on you. But there's something wrong there if people claim that they're doing that, but yet they're still engaging in gossip, they're still engaging in backbiting, in slander, and in coming against in either public forums or by coming into an agreement with people that have a public forum, against other brothers and sisters in Christ. There's something wrong there. That's not right. Something is missing. So, and I'm just not going to abide by it. I'm just not going to put up with it. No more. I've been nice for a very, very long time. Not anymore. If you're a witch, if you're a warlock, if you engage in gossip, slander, backbiting, character assassination, disparaging people's characters, you get off on hurting people, you get off on, insulting people, and just being an overall jerk, you're not welcome here. It's just that simple. I hope I made that as clear as I possibly could. So with that, I hope you all have a very great and blessed day. Be safe out there. Head on a swivel. Yes, go tell people about Jesus. Go tell people about the love of Jesus. Be an example. Be as Christ-like as possible. Talking to myself here. I struggle with it. I deal with it. Like I said, these attacks are intense. They are. They're very intense. I know people that are being very seriously attacked now. They are intense. I highly suggest, if you believe that you can handle it, if you feel you can handle it, pray about it first. I shared the movie. I've shared it several times to the old channel or to the main channel, and I shared it to the community page this morning. I shared the movie Nefarious. If people have not seen that movie and you would like to for free, it's on the community page on this channel. You can look at it for free. I suggest, if you feel that you can handle it, you believe you can handle it, you watch that. You will learn a lot. You will learn about the attacks. You will learn how the devil infiltrates. You will learn how even the smallest, tiniest little opening can cause someone to basically become a child of the devil. That any opening that we give the devil, you just open the door enough to where he can get his foot in. Pretty soon, the devil and the demons and everything have infiltrated everything and everywhere. And that movie explains exactly how he does it in a very, very fascinating and just mind-boggling way. I mean, there's a reason they call the devil the most subtle beast of the field, okay? So check it out if you feel that you can handle it. If if you're interested, it's free. It's on the community page. As I said, if you want to understand more about how this is happening and how it could happen to you and your family if it hasn't yet, check out that movie. It'll help you out. And then, like I said, might go a little deeper into that in the near future here. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see what the Lord wants to do. But I really wanted to get this information out about the military and the chaos and everything that's going out there. Pay attention to that announcement tomorrow or whatever else. But like I said, just live life. Do what you got to do. Take care of yourself and your family, and just, go from there. All right. Y'all have a great and blessed day. Yes, speaking in tongues definitely helps. Yes, pray in the spirit if you do that. Absolutely, Tina. All right. I think I'm done. Y'all have a great one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.